Basically, the YouTube streets are telling young women, if you want a six-figure man, this is what you're going to get. Don't matter. And so they're also pushing men to make that money so they can treat women that type of way.
Mhm.
And a
Okay.
lot of women think, no, I can have it all. I want a man that makes six figures. I want a man that's a super high earner. And I also want him to be faithful.
Okay,
Because it
so
seems like women want these lifestyles until they get into that lifestyle and they're saying, oh no, my mental health is declining. I gotta leave. I don't care about the luxury stuff. I gotta get out of here. So
so all right. I think I kind of get. So I have three parts, right? So you said for men, women, but then my first part is don't use social media to set standards for your personal life. That's the first solution, right? Um as far as both men and women, um actually spend time investing in your own personal development so that you're not seeking validation outside of yourself and so that you value yourself enough to know, like, you value yourself enough to not tolerate certain things for the sake of having companionship. That's for women. And then for men, um if you think that, valuables or superficial things are an excuse to be less than just an upstanding man, just be careful because you're going to reap what you sow. So, I mean, just the overarching thing is just like, just let's not be trash human beings to one another. Like, let's be mindful. Let's just, again, most importantly, just not go seeking for validation on social media. Like, don't use that as a standard for how you live your life. Young women, do not believe everything you hear. Not all high earning men are trash individuals. And not all, women want to sell themselves to be with those high earning individuals. So I'm going to leave it there.
So the solution for what I think the solution is to be realistic with yourself in terms of what you can handle, because everyone's different, and if you feel like you can handle that, go for it, but if you don't, then don't, and be realistic with yourself. That's it.
I will definitely piggyback on that. Realistically speaking, what you can handle, I agree with that. Stand on the ground and think, the consequences. Like I said earlier, what are the consequences if I go this route? What are the consequences if I go on this route? Now, I have to say, in general, we have to stop looking at people just for what they have and how they look, and treating them as objects. And the reason why is because if I have an iPhone right now, hey, guess what? iPhone 15 is coming up. So I'm going to want to have that one. If you have a certain car, you're going to want to have that car. And why? Because objects are replaceable. They're going to be replaceable all the time. But people have an essence. People, everybody, each of us is unique in our own essence. There's no other Mrs. Curves, there's no other Mrs. Taken, there's no, each of you, there's no one else like you or anyone in the chat. We're unique. So there is something that you have to see more about the person that you're with, that is just not how they look and what they have. So start appreciating more.
Mhm. So I'll jump in. And B Taylor, I love the way that you phrase the question. So it makes my heart happy. Absolutely.
thank you.
I think the solution for women is to be incredibly honest with themselves about what they are willing to sacrifice. Once you can be truly honest with yourself, I think you can choose a fitting partner more adequately. I think for men, you need to understand what the value of a woman is in your life. If a woman is an object, if she is a trophy, you need to choose that woman appropriately. If she is a partner If she's somebody who's going to build with you, choose that woman appropriately. And I will also echo with Lady T. I know it's difficult because social media has taken this importance that, like, I think we're all fairly similar in age that, we didn't have growing up. It's evolved into something different. And so it's challenging to understand what social media plays in our lives. And if I'm honest, I think that looks differently for everybody. I think we need to be honest about that. What our expectations are around social media and its influence, what our expectations are when it comes to social media and our reputation, and what that looks like for legacy, because anything that goes on the internet is not erasable. No matter how much you scrub it, no matter how much money you have, there is somebody somewhere that has a copy of something that you have put up. And so, although it should not be defining, I think you need to be honest about what role it takes in your life and understand what that means so that both people can come together and move accordingly. So I think everybody needs to be honest with themselves. I think everybody needs to evaluate themselves so they are equipped to evaluate an adequate partner.
There's really trying to think about that. I think as a woman, and I can't really speak from a man's perspective, but as a woman, I think the biggest thing is getting to know who you are and establishing your standards and what you value. And I think once you have a clear understanding of, what you value, I think that should be what you stand on, regardless of who you're dealing with. I had told somebody before that I remember my daughter was dating a guy and we did not like him at all, and was trying to point certain things out to her, like these are the things, like, you don't see because right now you're blind to that. And that was her first love, so you couldn't really tell her nothing. But after that situation, one of the things that I said is, think of all of the things that you didn't like about that relationship and write it down. And I said, now what you need to do is on the opposite side of that, write what that looks like, the opposite end of what that looks like, because this is what you're looking for. These are the standards that you need to set. So the next mate that you get with, you have something concrete that you can look at and literally check off and say, okay, is he exhibiting these qualities? Is he exhibiting these characteristics? And if he's exhibiting those specific standards of what you want, then like, you don't have to follow your heart. You literally have a game plan right here. And if he doesn't match up to that, then you don't even need to waste your time. And so I think as women, we really, really need to begin to focus on the things that we really want. We don't really set standards. We allow the relationship to set the standard, as opposed to going in with the mindset of already having an understanding of what that should look like or what we want. And we go into these experiences over and over again, which begins to shape, how we look at relationships, or shape how, our next relationship is going to be, instead of already kind of having somewhat of understanding or standard of what it should be.
Man, man, you guys all had great solutions, and I agree with all of them. I'll piggyback off and just say that you're right. Like, you need to write down what you want and be realistic. Like Sarah and Inaz and Curse for Life, you got to be realistic of what you want and what you can handle, because what you think you want may not be that once you're in that situation. Because for me, I thought, oh, if he's making all this money, I could handle a man probably out talking to other women. And then when I got in a situation like that and tried to, ignore it, mind my business, ignore it, after a while, it messed with my emotional health, because I was always paranoid about, oh, who's this girl? Who's that girl? Like, is he gonna, are we having a rough patch? I never felt secure in my spot, never felt good. Even if we're living this lifestyle, at the end of the day, like, am I the one he really wants, or am I just here for the moment? What if I get old and he just decides to leave me for his little thing that he met, and because he has that option to do that. So you do really need to evaluate what your principles, what your boundaries are, what your standards are. And just because a man is making a lot of money, he's buying you and he's flying you out, buying you bags, taking you on things that you never experienced. Yes, that may be fun, but at the end of the day, you're risking your health for a temporary lifestyle. Like, you want to just continue living your life. So, but if that is how you want to live your life, that's fine. Just be realistic that it everything comes with a price. Everything comes with a price. No matter what you think that looks like, everything comes with a price. So you're taking a risk every time you allow that man to do him and practice his options. And I say, for men, you can't feel like you can treat women any type of way and exercise your options, and flaunt your money, and then get mad when all you get is women who want you for your money. You can't get upset about that when that's what you presented yourself. You don't present yourself as a man of character, you're not going to attract a woman that has real character. If all you're doing is flaunting your money, what you're going to attract? You're going to attract bugs to that. Like, money is like honey, and the bug's going to be sticking to it. So if that's how you view women, when you get old and if something happens to you, an accident happens to you, is that woman really there, really taking care of you, or she's just there for the money? Or what happens when if something ever happens when the money runs out? You're going to find yourself real lonely because all you did was surround yourself with people who really don't care about you. That would just be my short little solution.
Can I say one more thing? I just wanted to respond to one person in the chat. Hey, Linlin. Linlin put, why should a man match up to your game plan? Sounds like it should be the reverse. I think it's that thinking right there that sets women up in relationships that they end up divorcing.
Yeah.
And what I mean by game plan, I'm not talking about you're planning out the life you're going to have with this man. I'm saying you should set the standard of the type of man you want to allow in your life. You have to have a standard, because then you'll attract anything. When you set your standards in place, then you're attracting those type of men that meet that standard. Then when you get in a relationship, you come up with a game plan or what have you at that point. But you want to meet your match. And I'm saying that from a person who's been in that situation and has been married 19 years because of that. There were certain standards that were in place that I knew that I valued. And so because of that, my eyes are only going to be looking towards those men that have those things. I'm not going to be seeing other men who don't even meet up to that. So I think that's why it's very important for women to have an understanding of what that is going to look like, because then you'll attract anything. And you don't want that. You want to minimize the damage.
I think that's a great point, Ms. Taken, and I would take it a step further and say it's not about a man getting on your plan. It's not about a woman getting on a man's plan. That if you understand your plan, you're able to partner yourself with somebody who has a similar plan.
Absolutely.
And that way you move in tandem with each other instead of fighting each other along the way, instead of sacrificing yourself, your desires, your hopes, your dreams, the things that you're looking for out of your future. That if your plan and his plan align, you move together, right? But the second it's like, no, it's my plan, whether you're the man or the woman, you're already setting yourself up for a lifetime full of fights and conflict.